Hello everyone, and welcome to another Arknights video. Today's video is going to be over the survey for, I'm going to assume, around the collab we are about to finish. And it's going to be a lot of yapping. I don't really have much else to note when it comes to this. So, yeah. The best thing I could really say is that a lot of people are probably going to be mad, given the time I have the time to think over and kind of digest. So there's something I will mention prior to we get it going, but I feel like I'm gonna get people angry. You're probably not gonna agree with everything I have to say, especially when it comes to the collab. But at the end of the day, it is an opinion, so, I mean, it is what it is. Different people have different thoughts on different things. It is the way it is. Anyway, that out of the way, let's talk about the collab and stuff like that. So, this is, where do we even begin? Okay, so I generally do read the collabs if I partake in them. This is one of those exceptions where, due to what's going on, I've not given the time to actually read what was happening in the collab. I can't after the fact, because a lot of people do, like a certain Arknights story content creators, out there. So I don't really need to worry about not reading it type of thing. I can read it at a different time, even if the collab is no longer available. But will unless people say otherwise, I probably won't, just in due to the part of how I feel about this collab overall, given my thoughts and being a bit different than Dungeon Meshi, but overall, so if you skipped everything, I'm disappointed. I think it'd be the best way of saying it. And I'll give my thoughts on to why. And again, as I said earlier, not everyone's going to agree with me, and there's going to be a lot of people that will be angry at me. But this is just my thoughts on the collab. Overall, I do think it is better than the Monster Hunter. Not the stages! Let's stop. The stages, I think, were way better than these stages. But, in terms of story and the idea of it being a collab, I liked this more than that. But there are some shortcomings in a lot of other departments that I felt like made me disappointed. While I wasn't really disappointed with the mechanics per se of the stages, I think that was like the only good thing about the Monster Hunter collab. And again, I'm gonna piss so many people off by saying that, but I think, boy, I'm going to piss off a lot of people. Okay, and that's not what was my intention at the very start. But with everything when it came to this collab and partaking in this collab, which is not like what happened with Dungeon Meshi. Yeah, I have a lot of things to say. And a lot of people are not going to agree with me. Anyway, especially bringing up Monster Hunter, some people are already getting like, oh fuck, here we go again. So yeah. Where do we begin? So, of course, I didn't read the story. The day of the launch of the anime, they had the collab with the anime that's a spin-off from the main series. I did watch the anime and try to spin up to the point where I would have quote-unquote finished it, but I didn't finish it due to the fact that the source that I was reading from only got to like over 2/3 of the entire season before they pretty much dumped the translation down the bin, and it was kind of unwatchable after that. Not knowing what the fuck's really going on. If you did not watch the very first episode of me talking about the anime, what are you doing? First of all, I mean, I've already had, like, all the videos by tonight, was this video later tonight of me recording this video, all the clears and everything when it comes to this event is on YouTube. But yeah, I was able to watch until episode 9. Episode 9, I believe, is where the translations hit the dumpster, hit the bin. Did not even match at all. Like, for example, I think it's episode 10, or is it episode 11? One of the episodes I was scrolling through to see if it's still an issue in later episodes, which it was. At some point, there's an airplane section, and the text was talking about someone making, why am I brains being stupid right now? I want to say spaghetti, but that's not the right one I'm going to say. Some sort of pasta. Sorry about that. Things came up and I had to focus on certain things. Anyway, the last thing I was talking about was the whole anime translations not fully done at the very end. I talked about it before in great detail, or I guess better detail, during the actual, like, it was the first day of me recording the event, and after, like, not even an hour after I was done watching the last episode, which would have been 8? Maybe 9? I can't remember when the whole translation. I think it was 9, because it started messing up in 9. I tried my best to watch the very end. I didn't really know what the fuck happened. It just crazy girl, just doing crazy girl shit, and they all somehow made it through, and now they're maybe back in the band? That's the general gist of, like, I think at the end of episode 9. Pretty much, so I can't really experience the full thing and understand, kind of understand, but not fully understand why people like it so much, or was a good idea for it to be a collab in Arknights. I can see, but I have a lot to say. Because I don't think it's as crazy as people make it out to be. But then again, that's been said to other things that I like, and some people say that, so... Anyway. Let's get into the survey, and yeah, again, as a warning again, probably not what I like, I'm gonna say, or like what I want to say, so... Okay. Overall satisfaction, 4. I always say 4. Let's be really honest. How do you feel about the content of the events? Basically, with Sakako, is it the event overall and stuff like that? So, overall, I can't really say much about Sakako. The issue with the 6 stars is that unless you've seen it before, you can't really say how do you feel about the content because it's a gacha game. This is like the only issue I have with Arknights. I mean, yes, it's easier to get than most other gacha games, but at the same time, not everyone's going to be able to say that they experienced it. Even with me building her up, I haven't really fully experienced the use case of the character or the synergy with the other characters. Because of that, honestly, there really isn't an answer because I've experienced it, but I can't really say much about it because I haven't fully experienced it to really say. A lot of people have gone stupid when it comes to it. I know I'm gonna put some people under the bus here, but there are some content creators out there that do niches, and they are not using the new characters. They will be using the characters, I should say, but they are not going to be using the characters instantly because they're too strong. A niche, the characters are too strong. They won't use it. Sounds like me with restrictions and additions when it comes to niches that I do, which is not normal in the Arknights community. If anything, I think that's really stupid because, like, you guys are acting like me more, or the Battle Cats community, than the Arknights community. Oh god. Okay. I won't say directly who, but there are some content creators out there that are purposely not using the new characters because they are too strong. Not even talking about Sakako here, okay? So, yeah! So, like, there's some insanity going on in the Arknights community. Perfect time with everything that's going on in infield as well. So, you know. Overall, I'm gonna just say average, because I can't really say anything else when it comes to the characters. They are strong, supposedly strong together, but I haven't really fully experienced that to really say. Anyway, continuing on. How do you feel about the content from the event? It is honestly all over the place. All over the place. Like, I think week 1 was horrendous. Week 2 felt easier than week 1. The boss is shit, but I like the design. To the point where it's like, amazing design, shit mechanic. And not even talking about the event mechanics themselves being utter garbage. Like, the other collabs did a way better job. What else is there to really say? So overall, given what I've already said, I would say it's disappointing. And the story, I did not pay attention. I did not read the story. Okay. Now, okay. I got everything off my chest in a lot of areas. To me, I've actually had the time to get a feel of things, okay? So, take that as you will. It's not compatible with the BanG Ava Mujica. In a way, kinda not. I mean, okay, so if you've at least went up to a certain point, or let's say watched up to a certain point, at least when it comes to the green-haired chick, the two characters that are in a rich-ass family, there is some weird semblance with her and dolls, and the doll of herself, and the whole doll thematic of the masquerade of the characters at the start, that they're dolls, and that whatever happens on stage is all essentially an act. So, in a way, I think the enemy designs, aside from the boss, make sense and works. The whole dream thing, I think somewhat works, but I can't fully remember. There's really much of a dream thing in the actual anime up to a certain point, unless Jamie not being a popular band, I guess. But the whole dream thing works more at the mechanic of the boss, not like the actual mechanics of the boss, but the resistances. Somewhat. If you remember, it's me talking about the enemy is only one of the resistances that makes sense for it not working because it's a dream, because you can't be asleep and inside asleep unless you do sleep slaption. So I'm talking about the sleep resistance. But I would say the design of the enemies fits the boss. The boss design's pretty good, but it does not really work with the design of or the idea they're going for the enemies, in my opinion. But being kind of like a puppeteer, sure. If that was what they were going for, again, I haven't read the story, but if they were going for as that the boss of the mechanic being a puppeteer, then it would make sense because they're also they're pretending to be puppets. So in a way, it kind of works thematically. I can't really say about rewards. The event mechanics are not fun. I feel like that they're not really, compared to past collabs that I've played, they're the worst by far. To me, like, it works with the mechanics, but of the enemies, sure. But I felt like overall, just by itself, not enough. This is kind of like my general like thing that I tend to hate with some of the mechanics in Arknights. Is like, yeah, sure, it's different, but I like the mechanics being pros and cons, or generally helpful. In this type, it's not really too helpful enough, and you don't really have to worry about it for the most part, from my own experiences. The only thing I could really say it might help you out on is the boss. Technically, there's one enemy that it's like almost necessary, but that's kind of it. It's similar to, of course, the whole light mechanic within Act or Die with the film area preview from the camera. It's similar in design of that, but with different mechanics dealt with. But overall, I just don't think it was that impactful enough to really matter. I didn't really find them to be great as a mechanic. Moonlight, I think this could have been way better. Then again, I don't know what they could have done for this collab anyway. I think this was just something they had to think up of compared to the others, which actually made more sense. So, I feel like this was kind of going to always be like a possible net negative regardless. Because if you're trying to go based around the collab, what do you even fucking do? This should have been a Lithuanian over some, like, puppeteer in a dream shenanigans. So, yeah, you gotta see the issue with, that overall. The Chinese mode stages were too easy, not even challenging. Actually, I don't want to say it's too easy, the fact it's being easy. It was way too easier than the normal stages. The normal stages felt way too difficult. So personally, it's not so much that they're too easy, I felt like they were fair. I felt like they were easier than the normal stages, and I felt like the normal stages were way too difficult. I don't get the point of the whole hall thing. It's not even really a minigame. Yeah. Not even a minigame. There's a part of the UI I do not like. Everything comes around to the normal stages. Mostly. Then there's, of course, the fucking boss, which the boss sucks ass. So, okay, let's start with the normal and the EX stages here, because I do like to make it a point and give more context, because there's not enough context with these options, personally. So, normal stages felt way more difficult than EX, while EX felt fair. Okay. Aside. Let me get this out of the way. Aside from the boss. Sucks. The boss sucks. The thing with the boss is it's. I kind of hated how simple it was. Like, it's simple in the degree of it being way too difficult and way too simplistic. It didn't really feel fair to the player. A very fast boss that consistently is unblockable, more so than dodges or moves past a blocked operator. You can block the boss, but it's only for a certain amount of time, compared to other bosses where there's some mechanic, or every so often will pass jump, but in this case it just goes to zero block instead. So there's a limit of how much I can put in here, so simple generic mechanics. overly power crept. Other bosses. Okay, the idea is that the mechanics that the boss has has essentially been taken from other bosses to an extent, but are very simple or simplified, and has just been power crept to the extreme based off of how the current meta is. I just find that the current meta, if they continue to keep going this route, the game's gonna get more boring and boring to me. And I don't think that's a proper way to handle this game, because they don't have to go that route, and they kind of did that with this boss. Wasn't a minigame. Like, what? First of all, I don't know how that was considered a minigame. What's the best way to say? Moonlight wasn't. I guess, felt useless. Aside from specific... Aside from specific scenarios. The boss was like, generally the only threats for the most part. Like, because of how it was, and how the enemy mechanics is like only one, like 2 stages in EX where Moonlight was necessary, and that was Dash 2 and Dash 6, I believe, for at the beginning for the bears. After that, like, it was pretty much useless. Being brutally honest, no using 6 aside from the stupid boss. Aside from the boss and the boss stages, that's generally how it felt. Well, no more stages felt like they were purposely trying to force you to use the mechanics, but the mechanics not really being that useful to begin with, made the normal stages way more difficult than necessary. I had more restarts on normal stages than the EX stages. Okay? I want to put that, I have to rephrase that, because that's probably something that most people didn't really notice. You probably wouldn't notice anyway, because I usually skip it out, but this is probably the least amount of resets I've ever had for EX stages than I've ever had before in an Arknights event. Again, you taking the boss out of the equation, even with the boss going in, I decided to start using 6 stars, because fuck the boss. And I did do a few retries with using 6 stars. That just shows how stupidly difficult the boss is compared to the event mechanics, and the enemies themselves, and the EX difficulty itself. Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it was all over the place with this event. Which also kind of works with some people feel like with the anime. At least, hopefully, probably not from Crunchyroll. Anyway. How were you involved in the hunting for, Psycho? Not really gotcha. I spent my relative energy praying for this operator. Okay, when it comes to this doesn't really do a good job either of, like, how I felt. Like, generally speaking, the last banner I didn't even attempt to do anything. So I didn't get anything, and it seemed like I was not there for the event, or the event never existed to begin with. This time around, because I actually took the time to delve into the actual source material, I would say, I wasn't gonna go crazy for them. Sorry, not sorry. So, medium, like, I would say medium sum of Wordium. There you go. That's a perfect way to talk about it. I mean, sure, they are. It's, like, from what I'm hearing, they're really good. The fact that niche content creators are not using some of them because they're that good together. A collab character that may not return that I also experienced. Try to experience the source material. Unlike the last collab, I didn't even experience. How were you involved in attaining the other 4 Ava Mujica operators? Get all the other 4. Like, sure, yeah, get them all. If I was gonna go for Sakako, I might as well have gone for all of them. What were the main reasons for getting the other 4? Sakako might as well go for the others. It's most likely you probably would grab the others if you're going for Sakako, so you'll probably get all of them if you do go for likelihood, especially going for 60. So 60 pulls, you probably will get the other 2 5-stars from the banner. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I like you keep playing Arknights based off your current experience. Did you just already do this question? At the very beginning? So, why is this question doubled? Okay, they should have rewarded this based off of the collab experience. Would you keep playing Arknights? That is what the question should have been. Unless they messed up greatly, I would not be surprised if Yostar managed to mess up like that. If it's based off the collab, probably a 3. I'm familiar with the BanG series before Arknights. Other series, but not no. Okay, so before the collaboration, I have heard of the series, but I did not know much about it. But the only reason why I've heard anything about it, aside from other avenues, was there was a viewer at one point who was a big fan from the BanG Dream series, specifically the BanG Dream series. So that is why I knew about the series. So, how familiar were you with the following BanG Dream series before the Arknights collab? I actually never heard of specifically Ava Mujica before this, so I'm gonna say I've never heard of this series. In the past period of time, have you followed content related to it? The thing about this isn't it the only thing? So, I don't like any of these questions, because I partakes in it the following day the collab was in it, but I won't in the future. If I had to give my overall thoughts on the anime, the Crunchyroll needs to do something. It's been months since they have not fixed it. I don't know if there's other avenues. There probably is other avenues to watch the anime. But overall, not even considering the whole issues with translation, I don't think it's really that crazy. Realistically, I like, to me, it's drama-esque, sure, but to me, it felt like they didn't really try to rely on the whole BanG Dream side of things. I was expecting it to have part drama, part music, you know, them playing, but they skipped, like, it's not like the story, they could have easily tied in what was going on in the story and have some new musical thing happening, but they didn't. They just kind of skipped it, like, oh yeah, this thing happened, anyway, here's more of the drama going on. To me, I felt like it was disjointed. It didn't play into the BanG Dream side of things, from what I briefly even understand of BanG Dream. Even it being a side series, like, for me, I like and enjoy Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It has Pokemon in it. It still has battles. It may not be trainer battles, but it still has Pokemon battles, quote-unquote, in it. I think it does a way better job than BanG Dream. There should have been a lot more musicals or plays or songs in it, but most of the time it was the opening and ending, and then I think at some point, like, at the very, like, there's some points in the very beginning, and then at least a point at the end, and there might be some practicing, but there wasn't really anything to the extent of the end happening in between, you know? Like, I feel like they did a better job of doing, Bohemian Rhapsody, that movie that's based around, my brain, I don't want to say anymore because I probably get it wrong. I think they did a better job with portraying that band, the Queen, in the movie by playing songs from the band, but they can't make new music for the side drama based around a fucking musical match rhythm game series. Like, I don't understand what they were going for. Aside, like, sure, if you want to go drama, but couldn't you just add more musical elements to it? You could say all you want about the story. There's a lot of people who don't like the story. But you can't even implement the whole thing that makes it interesting to begin with. This makes me curious on why they decided to go for this as a collab. Generally, why did they go for this collab aside from it being a dark drama? Just for that alone, that has ties to the music series, but doesn't actually feature that much when it comes to music. Yeah, I think, to me, I say Monster Hunter is overrated. I still think Monster Hunter series is overrated in the gaming community. But I think this collab for Arknights is way more overrated than people thinking the Monster Hunter is a great series. Personally, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. I don't see the point of this being a great collab from what I've experienced. Like, sure, we joke about the company being a music company all damn day. It gets really stupid and annoying after a certain point. But I don't think this collab was it. As they say, I don't think this is it, Chief. I don't think this was that great of a collab choice. From just based off the source material of the anime, Ava Mujica from the BanG series, the die is cast, or the die has cast, I think it is. They get that a little bit mixed up. I think some of the characters were interesting. I think that some of the characters were hot. But overall, I felt like it was kind of mismatched. I'm not going to go too much into the story, because I think that was playing into it, and I think they missed the ball. They dropped the ball when it comes to musical performances. That's the one I wanted to say, because you would think, based off a band that in the old BanG shenanigans, they would do more stuff with that than not all the time drama, dark drama. But that's not the case. They went so hard with the dark drama side of things, that they forgot what was the source materials from for it to be a spin-off. To me, it's like, yeah, there's a spin-off. It doesn't have to have everything from the original series, but there's got to be something that makes it what it is from the series, the original series that's being a spin-off to begin with. The Pokemon from the Pokemon with battling, with the Mystery Dungeon series. To me, I feel like there should have been way more. This is like me being more critical with the BanG series than with Arknights here. But that also comes around to, why did Hypergryph decide to do this as a collab to begin with? I don't see the point. I don't think it really. I think it's missing too much to be like, oh yeah, okay, this works in every button, and it doesn't. It's the only thing I can think of is the fact of it being a dark drama. That's it. Even more off my chest. Because to me, that's what I think when it comes to this collab. Getting the actually going through as far as I can before Crunchyroll brought up the middle finger with translations. I don't really think it's that great. Really, I don't think it's that great. Anyway, related to this, about this, I have never really followed it in the past period of time, aside from when this collab started. So I'm gonna say I have never followed it. I'm an active player. Six months in advance being done in CN. And then it's just a Discord server, and that's pretty much it, really. I did not even realize that, BanG Ava Mujica? What? I don't think there's really content creators from that. And who? I didn't even see anything like this? Huh? No. Kinda, actually? Yes. Technically, yes. I can't lie about that, yes. Lawrence is a collab operators event stories, no. I mean, a story for the events, sure, but the actual collab operators themselves, no. I mean, both no, but I would make more sense for it to be based off of the lore of the story. In game review and the collab operators, sort of? Did I? I've done that so in the past. I don't think I've really have. No, I don't think so. No. I mean, it's really kind of the best. Translation. Ruin. To episode 8. Okay. Fastball, which of the following games have you played? I feel like the fact that we've already had this, I feel like this is kind of odd seeing this. But in this past month alone, Love and Deep Space, dead. Isekai Slow Life, dead. Withering Waves, dead. Fake Grand Order, dead. They're not actually dead, just pretend that I didn't play them. Okay, cool. Blue Arcade, dead. Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, dead. Honkai Star, dead. Arknights Infield. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, Azure Lane, dead. Brown Dust 2, dead. Reverse 1999, surprisingly dead. I stopped playing that game. Who would have thought? I was not really hinting it, but I knew it was probably going to eventually happen. It's just the way it is, especially with Arknights Infield coming out. Yeah, that game was pretty much dead because of Arknights Infield, and I probably won't end up playing it. And if I do, it'll just be to save for when can't remember her name comes back again. Who knows when? Anyway, Epic 7, dead. Chaos Zero Nightmare, dead. Zenless Zero, dead. Olympus Company, dead. Genshin Impact, dead. I have not touched Olympus Company. I've tried. I got into, like, the very beginning of the first few texts. I stopped because I went to bed, and I never touched it since. And I did not go into it the Arknights Collab, because the Arknights Collab sucked ass. I'm gonna piss off a lot of people, but that's how I felt. I'm not gonna go into that today, because that's a different game and different claims collab. And I've talked about it before. Anyway, Genshin Impact, dead. Girls Frontline 2, dead. Etheria, dead. Shadowverse, Worlds Beyond, never heard of that one, dead. Goddess of Victory, dead. Other, please specify. Yes. Honestly, past month was there. Well, Arknights. Okay, aside from a little trolling with that one, honestly, probably could look into Play Store and see. Arknights, June 30th through the 5th. Really? Was that the last time we played it? Okay, so that would have been a month. Okay, I'm sorry. Reverse 1999. I forgot that I probably played it for like a little bit. It's not even counting that I played Arknights for 5 minutes. But I have been on PC, so... Infield, it's not going to show me before that date. But I'm going to say probably those three in particular. Modoka! Yeah, I did, I think, try out Modoka a little bit with the recent, like, update, and then I stopped. So, technically, Modoka Magica. Magica, Magia, etc. And I'm gonna say, because I probably did and I can't remember now, Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay, well that's somewhat short, of course, and I'm getting old, and suggestions. I have suggested and talked about so much shit on the Arknights Infield side. I am going to keep Arknights Infield on that side. I have yet to do a video of the survey. If I remember to, I'll probably start doing that with the upcoming survey, because I have not been doing that, but I probably should have been, but I'm just haven't. Which is perfectly fine, because I'm still enjoying it on my lonesome, aside from me touching Umbral Monument as videos. I will be touching that in a couple of days when Yvonne comes out on the 25th. 25th will be a new Arknights. I'll be recording a new Arknights video for Yvonne. And not forgetting Yvonne, but I have to create some, like, 10 to get something. The dossier. And there is the Umbra Monument. So I'll probably be doing those two things as a video. Yeah. And I'll keep that on that side of things. So I'll be only focusing on Arknights specifically, obviously. So in this case, the only thing I can really say is other collabs. Because let's be brutally honest, I think, to me, they're way better collabs. There's so many people off saying that. It's hard to really say what you really should do for a collab for a series. Something popular, something that works with it, something that doesn't work with it to be different. It is kind of up in the air, really. A lot of the time, it's usually popularity, or if it works with the series. Not the third option, the latter of the options. So at this point, I can't say Arknights Infield because that kind of stupid as convenience. Aside from that, I mean, Plants vs. Zombies. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Much else since I said a lot when it came to the last survey a month ago, by the way. It's been a month ago since the last survey. I should say almost a month ago. So, at this point, going to collabs I would be interested in seeing. In terms of anime, there's a decent amount that has been shown up before that they could have done, but they didn't do it. If they want to go that route, I'm just gonna say Madoka Magica. What? Yeah. Plants versus Zombies. Insane Aquarium. I think that's how you spell it. So if not, I can just go to Steam here. When is that coming out? Okay, that's like in a couple of days. I don't think I'm gonna end up playing that game, but I have so many games to play. Anyway, holy hell, fan service. Insecurium Deluxe. Insane. Aquarium. I'm just actually, did I get it correct? Yeah, I think I actually got it correct. But I just need to put in Deluxe and we're good. Honestly, that would be kind of insane to see some variation of Insecurium Deluxe. That would actually genuinely be insane. Okay. At this point, my thinking cap is just done. Like, I can't think of anything really that it's like at this point. Like, I have said so much shit before in the past, and none of them really care. Okay, there's something I do want to put in. That I just thought about that I would still want to see. So I will be there's probably others that if I think about it, I'd be like, yeah, that's way too many. Oh, Mall Factory. Since I literally have a poster for fuck it. Akame. Okay. Can we get killed? Actually, that's the first time I mentioned that, so technically that's new for me. Oh, I don't think they would do it, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to see. I don't think they would. Daria. Minecraft wouldn't happen. Like, I would like to have, like, Minecraft in stuff within the game, but, no. Terraria is the most likely. At that point, like, there's so many other options to go with, especially anime, that it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop there. Because, okay, there's way too many options to put down. Anyways, General Answer. Like, at this point, they could. I just don't think anyone else sees that possibility. like Bolivarian Wars, something like that. What else? What else? What else? I don't even know if that would be Bolivian. I don't think that's how you pronounce it either way, but, what's going on in Mexico? Boy, they have a lot of possible ways they could go about it. That's... I'm not gonna go too much into the real world implications, but they like to take stuff from the real world, obviously, because a lot of the Arknights places in the world are based off of certain parts in our world. If you haven't known that before yet, there you go, I guess. So they could, they've been kind of hinting about those wars around there that have been happening. Like, the whole reason why Durnar, what happened to her, being a army leader, teaching a group of students who then went under someone else in the war. She pretty much left because all of them died because of improper use of using them, essentially sending them to their deaths, essentially. And so she kind of left due to the facts of that. And it's a reason why she doesn't use two blades, that she was kind of known to be using two blades, but now she uses a shield. And there's an amount of lore with Durnar that I feel like they could continue on or bring her back due to what could happen there. I mean, there's a whole Beagle situation that we still don't know about. Very likely at some point we will. But when? Who knows? Honestly, I can't really think of anything else. I'm not gonna be suggesting stuff at this point. Maybe there could throw weapon that pierces bones, bounces back against a wall. Durnar. To loop shooter, but is on the ground. Round tile and attacks like a lord also. So similar to like a loop shooter and a lord. So it range attack acts like a boomerang. different attack range than the Lord class. Optional. Allow the player to change the two different attack angles. I am cooking way too much for the possibility of doing our altar. Okay. The more I say I don't think of anything, I think of something and I put it down. Ugh. More long-term operators like Radiant. Okay, at this point, I think I'm trying to think if there's anything more. I can't. I think this is pretty much a good spot to stop at when it comes to the suggestions to put in. Opinions a suggestion. So yeah, as I always say, a great day. I just actually have more to say. Thank you for reading. Have a nice day. There we go. That's how we're gonna end it. I don't have much else to say. I probably could think of something that'd be like, fuck, I should have said that. It happens. It happens. Cooking way too much for dinner. Suggestions for other collabs, for what they could go with. There's way too many options for that, realistically. For a lot of people could say. And then, yeah, I think the main one is the journal bit. Aside from that, more long-term operators like Radian would be awesome. Because essentially, Radian was not fully, but somewhat to what I've been suggesting for long-term operators for years now. So we got that in the game, and we kind of had her in the game for some time, but you get what I'm saying. A couple months now. So yeah, I don't think there's really anything else at the moment. So I'll think of something at some point, but I am going to end it off here and see if this submits. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching today's survey video. Me kind of going over the survey and thoughts and stuff like that. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, /follow. Description below is Discord, so do please go check it out. Aside from that, go to summons, go to chanting. Be safe and be healthy. And I will see you all in the next video. Until then, peace.